and welcome to Biz Talk. I am Danish Manzoor. And today we are going to talk about an issue which is very close to all of the people who move to new cities and they feel for it. We're going to talk about the house search. Whenever you are out there to rent a new house, you move to a new city with a new job, the biggest issue in anyone's life becomes to find that one house that you want to rent. So you could finally call that place a home and you can go about your business. But we all know that is not very easy in all the major metropolitan cities of India, and how brokers take advantage, sometimes undue advantage, of all the youngsters or people trying to look for their homes in these cities. Today's guest comes from a startup which tries to solve this particular problem of yours. And the quote-unquote notorious brokers over here are taken out of the equation. We're talking about Mr. Akhil Gupta, the founder and the Chief Tech and Product Officer of NoBroker.com. I'm pretty sure most of them must have already used your services. I must say that I have tried your services as well at that point of time. Now, before we go and move on to the business models and how you guys began, just want to understand, where did the idea of NoBroker come in and how did you guys meet?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, first of all. So, I did my engineering from IIT Bombay way back in 2005, and then I moved to Bangalore, started working with Oracle. And after working in Oracle for almost a decade, with few changes to some startups and all those things, I always wanted to do something of my own. And I was contemplating a move, whether I should move to US, whether I should do something of my own. That is when Saurabh, who is my senior from IIT Bombay, and after that he went to IIM Ahmedabad, and Amit, who is from IIT Kanpur, and Saurabh's batchmate from IIM Ahmedabad. So like we joked this, that we had the room connection because me and Saurabh were neighbors and Amit and Saurabh were neighbors in IIM Ahmedabad. So we were sitting, and so one day we were discussing, I told that let's start something, and we were discussing, okay, let's pick a problem which impact the masses, because I didn't want it to start something where we find the problem, we solve it, and we tell the customers that, boss, this is the problem for you and we have solved it, you should start doing it. So one thing was clear, whatever problem we pick, it has to be something which is affecting the masses, and when we solve it, we can see it working. So then the one big problem which came to our mind was like real estate transactions, because 3-4 years before we started, I got married, and that is when I started looking for a house in Bangalore. And I remember that any of the site, without naming the sites you go, you will just find brokers onto the portal. And if you say that you need a 2 BHK in Konmangla or HSR, they'll say, yes sir, I have the fabulous house, what you have seen on the website. But when you reach there and speak to them, they'll say, sir, aaj hi chala gaya. Just rent it out, I'll show you something else. And then they will start with the lowest possible house, and they will make you so much travel that after that you will be so much harassed and you'll think, looks like nothing good is available, and I have to pick one of the houses which broker is showing. And why broker will show the bad houses to you? Because they charge a premium on those houses from the owners, and you end up paying the brokerage. So this was there, I have faced the issue, Amit has faced the issue, Saurabh has faced the issue, we spoke to our friends, everybody faced the issue. And we said, okay, can we do something about it? So, and when I was in IIT, which was like 2000 to 2005, at that time, emergence of these online travel portals and entertainment portal like Make My Trip, Book My Show started happening. So I remember 2000 till 2004, whenever we had to watch a movie in Shriyas in Ghatkopar, we used to go there. Ticket was 35 rupees, we used to pay 35 rupees extra to the touts, take the ticket, watch the movie. But once the Book My Show came, we were getting the tickets in advance, we were choosing our seats, and that was a fabulous experience. Similar thing when we used to travel back to our native in the holidays from IITs. We used to go to the ticket window or look for a travel agent who will get the tickets done at a premium. And that was solved by Make My Trip, by IRCTC and all those things. We thought that with the inclusion of the technology, the problem can be solved. And ideally, middlemen is not required because they are not adding any value. If you see the brokers, they add the least value at the highest possible intimidation cost in this industry. Like for a house which you take for a rent, you pay 1 month of a brokerage and owner pays 1 month of the brokerage, and typical house contract is 11 months. So 2 by 11 is approximately 18%. Who across the globe charges so much for intermediation. Like if you have to pay 1-2%, it makes sense, and there's no value. So once a broker gets you a house, it's between you and the owner whether you end up with the terms which are agreeable to both the parties, and then only you close the house. So we said, can we make a platform and do this? So when we thought, can we make the platform, we also thought we are not the smartest guys. Like there are so many people who are doing it. Why this has not been done? And why this is not done across the globe? Because generally what happens in India is you pick an idea which is already working in the West, and then you just replicate it or you modify it and you enhance it and put it forward to the Indian market. So that's when we did the study, deep stick, and we realized that most of the developed countries have a very good rules and regulation around the brokers, real estates and all those things. With RERA coming in, these are the things which Indian government is trying to do. And brokers just can't run away from their liability. So if they have given you a house, they are tend to provide you the service, they are answerable, and you can reach out to them. So that's when we said, okay, let's build something. But what we'll do is we'll remove the notorious part, which is the broker. So we started working on a tech solution where we said, okay, we'll build an algorithm, we'll eliminate these brokers from the platform, and once I have eliminated the broker from the platform, it's the genuine owners, tenants, buyers, sellers, and nobody wants to cheat other party. Correct? Because as an owner, you want to give a house on rent, and I want to take a house on rent. And if deal is suitable for both, I'll close a deal as soon as possible. So with that, in August 2013 is when we started conceptualizing on the idea, and I was the technology and product guy. I started building. Amit was a operations guy. He started looking for the call center thing, and Saurabh was taking care of the marketing. So March 2014, 1st March 2014 is when we went live with the idea of nobroker.com.
Right, so that's a wonderful journey that you just shared and the problem that you guys are trying to solve. Now you just mentioned RERA a while ago. How is RERA going to affect your platform in the days to come?
Not much, because RERA is mainly for the primary sales. But when I was mentioning the RERA thing, I was trying to bring in the fact that government also understands that there is a big issue with the way real estate transactions are happening, like the way builders are not answerable, the way they promise something, and even after the due dates for years houses are not delivered and all those things. So with RERA, some kind of a regulation is coming in where builders will be answerable, brokers have to register, which are mainly for the sale of the houses, and there will be some kind of a liability of these parties in the system, and customers will not be always at the gunpoint of the builders and the brokers.
So I've spoken to quite a few people who have used your platform before we sort of set this interview up. Many of them also mentioned the fact that often they see a lot of brokers posing as owners on your platform and then eventually asking for a commission at the end. So the whole premise of having no broker, how do you keep it in a check? Because it doesn't solve the purpose when you already have brokers posing as owners on your platform.
So 99.9% of the people will not be brokers on our platform. So the way we have built this tech platform, if you go online, we have like 35 lakh plus customers who have used our services in the last 3.5 years. And this is one complaint which we seldom get from the customers. So sometimes few people do breach into the system by doing some hook and crook, but they are caught immediately into the system. So what happens is either the community what we have built, they report back, we have the mechanism to report the abuse and all those things, or our systems are running, they are so robust that even after these people have registered, they are caught and they are banned from the system. So it happens in very few cases, and I'm surprised that you were able to speak to such people, because if you go to Facebook, if you go to Google, if you go to Google Play Store, this is one complaint which you will never see onto the online platforms.
That's wonderful. We are in conversation with Mr. Akhil Gupta right now, one of the founders of nobroker.com. In case you have used the platform, you're going to find this interview quite interesting. Now, moving on to the fact that this ultimately is a company and you guys have to make money. How exactly do you make money, and how do you think that you're going to become profitable in the days to come and scale up?
Sure. So it's a company, we have to make money, we have to run the businesses, we have to pay the salaries, and in the end, a business is not successful until it has made profits. So, and when we started and when we were contemplating about the idea also, we thought about a business model. We said, if we are able to eliminate the broker from the transaction, what we do, we save the complete transaction cost, which is like 18%, 99% for each. And typical house in Bangalore is around 25,000 rupees in rental. So I am saying 25,000 rupees for the owner, 25,000 rupees for the tenant. Will I be able to charge a fraction of it? We thought yes. And that's what we said okay. So we started charging around 18 months back. For 2 years we were a free platform because it's a platform, it's more of a marketplace where supply and demand both are individual and fragmented people, correct? Unlike e-commerce where you get supply from a fixed set of people and only you have to tap the demand. We have to tap both supply and demand, and there has to be a equilibrium. And for that, marketplace has to grow and it has to bring in the network effect into the place. So for first 2 years it was free. We were feeding all the transactions and everything was free. Once we touched a million customer mark, after that we started with a freemium model. So what the model is like is, if you are a new customer, you come to the platform as a tenant, you can get 9 owner contacts for the free. So you get to taste the platform that the 9 owners to whom you are speaking are not brokers, they have the houses available, you can speak to them, close the deal. We are more than happy if you close the deal without paying us. But then we started with the plans also. For the tenants, the plan starts from 999, where we say, if you don't find a house, like generally people do get a house in 9 contacts, but if someone is too choosy, if you don't get a house in 9 contacts, you buy a pack of 25 more contacts for 999 rupees. Or if you're on a time value money curve, depending on how much precious is the time for you, you don't want to invest yourself, you can take the services of a phone relationship manager for 1999, which is 2,000 bucks, and this guy will help you in sourcing the lead as per your interest requirements, and then a premium feature on the app gets unlocked where you can view the leads, accept, reject, tell okay I like these houses, set up the meeting. The phone relationship manager will set up the meeting with the owner and he'll create an open house kind of a thing for the owner. You can go choose the house. And there were certain set of people who said, okay, we don't want to pay in advance. Traditionally, we have been paying after the transaction has been closed. We said, okay, you pay us 6,000 rupees and there is assurance from us. And if you don't get a house within the 45 days time frame, we'll return the money back to you. So with this, we started 18 months back. And as we speak, we add more than 1.5 lakh new customers per month. We have 35 lakh plus customers whom we have served till now. And our revenue has grown by 3.5x in last year. So Bangalore is the biggest city for us. We have around 40% of our transactions happening in Bangalore, which is profitable. So we are operationally profitable in Bangalore as we speak, and now we are moving towards different cities like Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Gurgaon are the cities where we have started focusing more.
Right. Now talking about profitability, in the Indian startup ecosystem, we mostly see that it's all about growth, it's all about scaling up. Nobody really talks about positive cash flows or talks about profitability. Most of the VCs, we have seen the startup, we've spoken to a lot of startup guys and they're like, everybody's only asking for numbers and nobody's asking for the real money coming in. What's your take on that?
True. So this was the case 2015-16. So when we raised our first round of Series A, we had a competitor in the market which was doing all sort of things to say that they are in an extremely high growth phase where our revenue, our traffic on the website was X, they were already 6X. But they were doing all the wrong ways of bringing the traffic. And what we decided, 3 of us, because each one of us spent minimum a decade before starting this, so we don't have a second chance. Like we are already in late 30s, so we said, okay, whatever we are doing, in the end we are making a business. For a business to be successful, it has to be profitable. Just by the numbers, like how much traffic you are getting onto the website, how many apps download you have, that will not be a success criteria for us. So we want to make business in the proper way. So we decided, because it's a marketplace and where not everybody will be paying and it will be a high volume, low payment game, we have to be frugal. So from day zero, we were extremely frugal in our approach. So when we were spending X, our competitors were spending 10X, their monthly burn was 10X. We decided, okay, we'll go with a slow pace because a platform which is a marketplace will take its own sweet time to build. Okay, only when I'll be able to get houses from someone and they speak to their friends and family and they say, okay, no broker works, I've got a house from them, then only this platform will work. So for almost 2 years, we kept it free. We let it grow organically, and once we had a good number of customers and they started speaking about us, and I'm sure that's how you would have heard about us. There was a network effect, big network effect, and generally a cycle of a transaction in a rental real estate is around 18 months. So the people who had used our platform in the past, they started coming back onto the platform. They had already tasted that they don't have to pay the brokerage, and they were okay paying 2,000, 1,000, 6,000 bucks for the transaction because they knew that they'll be able to get a house without brokerage or no broker. So with that we started, and as we speak, as I mentioned, that Bangalore is profitable operationally for us, and it's growing.
Now, talking about future, where do you see your company in the days to come, and what do you expect to be?
So it's a start. We have just scratched the tip of the iceberg right now. We are only in 5 cities. Gurgaon is the newest city which is growing. So we feel that this business will be there in top 20 cities in India. So rental is one which we are doing. Resale of the properties, like as an individual, where people have to sell their properties, whether they have bought it as an investor or all those things. That is a very big market where we have started focusing in 2017. We are seeing very good traction. After demonetization, there was a lull in terms of the buy sell of the properties, but towards the end of 2017, we have seen that the resale transactions are again coming into the play, and because the property prices have not gone up, prices are stagnant, people don't want to pay that 2-4% of the brokerage. So platform like us are adding a lot of value for them. So that is there. Then after that, commercial rentals of the property, and then the way we have built our model, it's extremely frugal and non-operation. So basically, we don't have any person on the ground serving the transaction. We have a team of around 325 people. They sit in one office for all 5 cities. So this model can be replicated anywhere across the globe. So we have seen demand from Southeast Asia, we have seen demand from Dubai. There are a lot of countries like India where brokers are paying, and we think that we'll be able to eliminate them.
Speaking of brokers, you had quite a bit of trouble with them. I believe your office was attacked as well previously, right? Now, do you think that you are driving these people out of their jobs as well at the same time?
No. So, see, we are not driving anyone out of the business. The people or the entity who is adding value for the ecosystem will sustain. Okay. As you grow, as time passes, you have to change the way the business is being done. Brokers were useful in late 90s and early 2000s because there was no way of getting the number of the owners and all those things. But you can't use the old ways and keep minting the money without adding a lot of value. Because with internet, with telephone, with mobiles, the world has become a global village kind of a thing. So I can speak to the owner who is sitting in the US just on WhatsApp without even paying anything. So anyone who adds value to the system, be it no broker, be it brokers, they will be there in the market and will be able to flourish.
Wonderful. You guys have been using artificial intelligence as well on your tech platform. What exactly are you doing, and how exactly are you putting it to the best use?
So I'll tell you one of the use case which has been extremely popular. So when we started, we had to reach out to the owners, and we decided as a philosophy that we'll not speak to the brokers. So how do we get the number of the owners? So 3 of us used to be on street during our bootstrap days, take the picture of the to-let board, which people generally put outside their houses, come back home, call the owners, explain
that must have been a very nice
yeah. So explain the business model, and everybody used to agree because they didn't have to pay anything. So once we raised funding, we said we don't want to put in people to do this particular job. So what we did on No Broker platform, we started with a program called Click and Earn, where we say, okay, if you see a to-let board to-let board, just take a picture. It will be automatically uploaded. Somebody from our call center will call the owner, list the property. If property is listed, will pay you 100 rupees in Paytm, and that's super successful way of getting the supply. So now as we speak, around 35-40% of our listings come from this particular program.
So you're not sweating it out at all?
So I cannot do it. So what we did now is, we have brought in the technology where once the photograph is uploaded, We do the screening of the picture, take the number out of it, check whether the owner already exists in the platform. If yes, we let the user know, otherwise it is passed to the call center to list the property. So that is where artificial intelligence comes in. Then when we started, we just had barely 100 of properties where user can scroll and see all the properties. Now as we speak, we have listed around 1 million properties in 5 cities, and at any point of time approximately 100,000 properties will be live onto the platform. So when I'm looking for property in Bangalore, let's say somebody is moving from Delhi and they want to look for property in Bangalore, they don't even know which locality it is. It's extremely tough to browse and see what you'll be looking for. So now we have come up with a machine learning algorithm where we use artificial intelligence to see and recommend what top 20 properties should be shown to the users based on the profile of the users, what they have searched for and all those things, so that we reduce their time onto the platform and make the discovery faster for them. So that's another thing what we do. Then there are a lot of people who are calling us. There are a lot of call logs which are there. How do we get information from those call logs without putting people to work? And can we have machines work for us and give us the insight of the sentiment of the user who has spoken to our call center executive from the call? Those are few use cases what we use.
Right, wonderful. Now, fundraising becomes an important part for every startup. How much have you raised so far, and what are the plans in the days to come?
So till now we have raised $20 million. So when we 2014 is when we are out in the market, and this is a very funny story. Basically, we were solving a problem which was extremely genuine. People are facing it. We used to go to the VCs. We used to tell them this problem, how's the traction, and everybody was like, wow, this is very good. And then after that they come back and say, but nothing like this has been done in the West. And we said, West doesn't have a problem. So it took us around 12-13 months to raise our first round, and SAF partner was the one who put in trust on us when our competitors had just raised $100 million. So that was Series A, and after that 2016, 15-16 is when we raised a Series B of $17 million. So we were the first one to brought in the Korean FDI investment in India via KTB Ventures. So we have marquee investors, SAF partners, BNext, then KTB and Digital Garage, who were the early investor in Twitter, also on the board.
Right. What next?
Next, so we have enough funds actually, so we are good for next 3-4 years. We have the business model which is proven. We have been able to generate revenue against the thought what people think that a marketplace in real estate will not work or it has not been done across the globe. So we have good capital with us which will sustain for 4 years, but for growth we will need capital. We get a lot of incoming interest from very good investors now. So I think raising money will not be a problem. So I'm sure there will be a lot of big funds, marquee investors who will be happy to invest and be part of our growth.
Wonderful. So last question, we'll end up with this because you began in India. What are your international plans?
So not for another 2-3 years until we are there in top 20 cities in India, solve the problem for commercial rental, residential rental and resale of the properties. But the similar opportunities exist in other big cities across globe. So we tend to expand outside India also, but let's see how.
Let's just hope your offices are not attacked over there. Whenever that happens. All the best to you. It was a wonderful time that we had talking to you. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this Biz Talk episode. We'll come back to you next week. Till then, do take good care of yourselves.